Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing the post Traptrix structure deck tier list. I'm really excited for this one. Let's tackle this. First, as tradition for all of our tier lists, we will replace tier 0 with best deck. And the best deck of the format is, come on. I don't think I have to say this. Lunalight has been absolutely dominant for the entirety of Commentary's lifespan. And honestly, I think, especially with the tire limits and stuff like this, Rafflesia might be cope, but it's also a potential strengthener to Lunalight's end board. I mean, look, one Rafflesia dump bottomless is not going to do that much, but like, it's still like a potential strengthener for Lunalight's end board. Don't know if they'll end up playing it, but we'll see that later. Grand Maju. Grand Maju is tier 3. I think the deck is okay. I don't think the deck is like very strong, but I think the deck is it's fine. I man, Grand Maju is always hard to place because it's either in like most formats, it's either like bad. I'll just talk about it like how it relates. It's math. It's not math. It's matchup versus Traptrix is bad because of all the things that they do to stop attacking. You play Threatening Roar with and Waboku both with Traptrix. So essentially, it has like a very very bad matchup against Traptrix. So it's not moving up the tier certainly. Paleozoic still only okay. With the I think with the addition of Traptrix, it might have a shell it can fit into, but also like, why wouldn't you just play like Kaiju's and Parallel Exceed? So it can theoretically work with Traptrix, but like, why would you ever play it over something actually good? Let's talk about another good deck. This deck is actually good though, and that is Melfi. Melfi gets to gatekeep tier 1.5, and essentially any rogue deck that cannot keep up with Melfi's advantage instantly loses. The issue with like playing versus decks like Melfi is that you can never really out advantage them unless you have blowout cards. Melfi did get slightly weaker after the Traptrix structure though, because their entire board gets shattered by Raigeki, which is now a common. Raigeki being a common hurts Melfi a lot. Essentially, now instead of like siding in dark holes, any going second deck will occasionally just, okay, I'm up in tournament rounds. Okay, I'm playing against like Dynamist or some like dumb shit, and they just go, okay, I'm a Dynamist, activate Raigeki, blow up your board, LTK you, and you just lose, right? It has like a lot of weird matchups against rogue decks, which prevents it from being tier 1, because with the advantage it generates, it could end up being like tier 1. But because of the weird matchup it has against like going second decks, and the way it's so easy to like side deck against the Codebreaker Swordsman plus Virus, Codebreaker Virus Swordsman plus Deck Dev instantly kills the deck. There are a lot of things that this unfortunately lose to. I actually now am just remembering for a budget sprite build that I can do that. That's not part of the video. I just had an epiphany on a sprite build that I can build for very cheap. Don't worry about it. Now, Tenny. Obviously tier 1. This deck is one of those stalwart and strong. I would describe it as stalwart. This deck has been in the top 3 for the entirety of Commentary's lifespan without getting too good. But although I do believe this deck is overestimated, I don't think it's as good as some of the people in the Discord are claiming it to be. I mean, every time I play against it, I'm like, oh, this deck is normal, right? This is like an obviously good deck. I have to like try, But I'm never like, oh wow, I can't do anything versus like this board, or like, oh no, my board got broken by like Lava Golem Kaiju there, and then they like hit me really hard. It's like the issue is like, yeah, sometimes you get owned going second by Tenny, but also sometimes you just look at their board and like, wow, this doesn't do anything, right? There are a lot of things that where you look at like at Tenny and like the deck is obviously good, and everything I'm saying about Tenny is gonna like I'm gonna get like a response to it, like, oh, so you think Tenny can't OTK? I understand that it can do all the things. Every time I play against it, I never feel like I can't play against Tenny, right? Like I always feel like I can find a winning position versus this deck. Against Lunalight, you're just owned. Against Predaplant, you're like, oh, okay, I'm playing an Xyz deck and now all my monsters are level 1. I guess I'll just surrender. Um, Against Tenny, there's never really that feeling of where like, oh, okay, um, like there's never really the like, oh, all my monsters are level 1 now, I can't do anything, or oh wow, I've been OTK'd through like multiple interruptions, like I couldn't do anything here. The issue is like Tenny is like it never really hits that spot for me. I still believe it's tier 1, still believe it's an absolutely amazing deck in this form, and I still believe that it can break pretty much any board if it draws a lot, and it is able to play a lot of board breakers because of its small engine. But I just don't see the power that is talked about with Tenyi. Mech Knight. Mech Knight is not a deck on its own. On its own, you would probably end up having to play like cards that there's unfortunately just no way to play this deck by itself. We got Purple Nightfall and Blue Sky in the new structure. Playing Mech Knight by itself, you would have to play like green and orange, which are like so bad. They're both like awful colors of Mech Knight, and like you have to play them if you want to play it pure. But and like so like you play like 3 Blue Sky, 3 Avram, 3 Mech, 3 Purple Nightfall. That's 9 names, and then 3 of the E-Telly Quick Spell. So that's 4 Mech Knight cards. That's not enough to do anything, especially when the E-Telly Xeno blocks you. So you have to play like 3 green, 1 orange, and like, okay, now like it's like it's fine, I guess, but like, why would you ever play this deck, right? You can just play Nightfall and Blue Sky in a better deck. Goki tier 1.5. I think it's still a little worse than Melfi, but Goki has been affected in a little bit of like a weird way. Now, like a couple kaiju's in general have just gotten better because of Kamungus. Essentially, the 2,800 kaiju they gave you is now 2,400, so it's slightly weaker, and like Beetrooper can search them, I guess. So you have another losing matchup, but it's Goki. They have a lot of losing matchups. There are some issues with Goki's matchup, with a little bit of like the matchup like pools, but overall, deck's still good. It still has the same recursion. You can still play a bunch of trap cards. You can still play like a mid range deck. You can still play like a combo deck. You can pretty much like variance it a lot. In the side deck, you can kind of switch between the big bunkus combo version, summon 3 Power Load Ogre, pass, so your opponent can't out it. And they can also play the set 4 trap cards, make a power load, or set 3 trap cards, make a power load. And like, being able to switch between that in between games, obviously very good. Like, good to give that to Goki. Ninja. This deck is overrated. Unless the people in the Discord, when I say the people in the Discord, I'm referring to specifically Graf Akaasu. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but the people in the Discord is just them. Anyways, this deck is overrated. I played 30 games with this deck. I think I won 5. Like this deck is like I'm so confused on like what the goal is here, because like it can't like do anything against anything like competent, right? Because like, everything they do is like targeting. So like loses to like Lunalight, loses to like Tenny, loses like, I guess it like has a pretty decent Predaplant matchup. But like I don't understand like what's the appeal of this deck? There are a couple things I have to do with that later, but this deck just feels so bad to play because so many the garnets you need with all like the sometimes you just draw like your like Tobari, plus you draw like Kagetsu, plus you draw like a super transformation, and like even if you have everything you need there, like that hand is playable. It's like, what like it just feels awful to like do anything with because like you're always drawing. It feels like every hand is suboptimal. Like you're like even if you draw like Hanzo, like you go just normal summon Hanzo, you search the transformation, you set 4. That's ideal. The deck still feels bad because like you get like you get like heavy storm duster or you get or like heavy storm duster. The trap card duster. It's like the deck just always feels so bad to play. Maybe I just like played a bunch of like weird matchups, but like it just does not feel good to. I never want to like. I see a ninja hand and I cry. Like, what am I meant to do with this? Uh, uh, Anyways, moving on to Megalith. The deck's okay. Megalith. I did a little bit of testing with this. I think I believe I did. I don't. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think it's better than Ninja, but I don't think it's better than Goki. Uh, the deck is fine. No one plays it. It has not seen representation in a tournament in since like the first 3 tournaments. It like the deck has not shown up in forever. Diamond Dude is playing real decks. It's like like the deck's okay, but like you practice so much with the deck that and you're like it ends on 4 pops or like but like okay, this doesn't beat anything in the format. It just feels so underpowered for how much work you have to put in to play this. Time Thief, it's bad. Worse than all the other rank 4 decks, except now there's another actually good rank 4. There are 2 more rank 4 decks that are better than this. Since the last time we played, we now have Galaxy and Traptrix, or they're both decks that can make rank 4s that are better than Time Thief. Very funny. Symphonic Warrior. I think it's still tier 3. I haven't seen anyone ever try to play this deck in like 6 months, but I doubt it's changed. Don't have much more to say on that. Marincess, still awful. Imagine playing Goki, but you spent your whole hand to get half of a Goki board. Very funny. Suship. Man, I like Suship. I experimented earlier with a Magic Key Suship build in which you would search unlocking. The issue with that is that you would search unlocking or make a rank 4, which is not what you want to be doing. Shari Red makes it better than Time Thief, but only by a little bit. Scrap. Deck's pretty good still. I like that you can activate floodgates and you can do it pretty well. Deck also has not changed since the last time we talked about it, so if you want to hear my actual thoughts on Scrap, go to my last tier list video. Sprite. Sprite's actually gotten a lot better. Sprite now has access to a bunch of Gishkis. The Gishki Deep Sea Diva copy that allows you to search cards. You can play like a little bit of an advantage engine just to get like discards. The new Gishki is Deep Sea Diva, so you can summon the Gishki, activate the Gishki, summon another Gishki from deck, and then use that Gishki to search a spell trap. And then like there are like some like okay Gishki boss monsters I think you can also search. These are just discard fodder, and this is all theory. I haven't really even tested with it, but this, Sprite with Gishki cards. Whoa, Sprite maybe is okay now. It's okay still. Birds are the same. I haven't tested with them since last time at the tier list. If you want my thoughts on birds, go watch that video. Yosenju. Again, this deck has not changed since the last time I spoke about it. If you want to hear, again, just go watch my video. Tier Lament. The funniest part is that since the last time I watched this, I did the tier list. I would have put it at like the bot at like top of tier 3, and then the ban list hit. There were a bunch of innovations done, and then the ban list hit. I'll still put it somewhere in tier 3, but I don't think it's as good as a lot of these decks. So I'll probably put it like a little bit above Suship, and probably better than Symphonic and this and this. It's probably better than this too. I'll put it here. I think this deck has been experimented with a lot, and I've seen it end on pretty impressive end boards. But those end boards aren't very consistent, and they're also just worse than Pride of Land. So, it is what it is. Melfi Rabi actually put out a video on this deck, like, pretty recently. So if you want to go check out a video about tier limit and common charity, go check Malfi Rabbi out. He's great. Skull Servant is still fine. I believe, yep, it's still fine. Again, the deck literally has not changed since the last time I've seen you. So just go watch that. Go watch the last tier list video if you want to hear my thoughts on Skull Servant. B Trooper has changed a lot. Now you can search a kaiju. That's crazy. Essentially, now B Trooper can like go second like really competently. This changes B Trooper from a deck that can like make a couple like untargetable, indestructible guys and then like run into your guys, but they couldn't really deal with things that could get over you by battle. To now you can search kaijus. This is one of the biggest weaknesses of B Trooper in general. Then you can now completely subvert it by using kaijus. Deck's very, very good. I wouldn't say it's better than any of these guys, but deck is still very, very, very good. Predator Lance, second best deck. Oh, that's not Predator Lance. Predator Lance, second best deck. Essentially, people in the Discord, people have finally acknowledged Predaplant has a winning matchup versus Lunalite. Lunalite does not beat Predaplant that often, so Predaplant can finally take its reign as the second best deck in the format pretty clearly. Some still disagree. I would say that Predaplant is very good against a lot of rogue decks. A lot of people are saying like, hey, this deck isn't very good against rogue decks. It invalidates any Xyz play, any synchro play. And like at worst, it's just you end on a bunch of monster negates, which is like, okay, come on now. This deck is clearly top 2. Naturia, tier 1.5. Deck's nice, right? Essentially, I should put this. Tier 1.5 is like the decks that are like good in tournament. Tier 2 and below are decks that like can theoretically top. We haven't seen it though. Decks tier 1.5 are like good. Naturia is okay. Naturia is okay. It can end on a bunch of negates, got a good amount of like counterplay through a lot of the meta decks. For example, you can go end on something like what's the one that like floodgates your opponent. There's one that makes them only be able to activate one or two, or just one spell trap per turn, and that can like hurt a couple decks real hard. It hurts something like Symphonic Warrior is a good example. They can't do a lot of their pendulum shenanigans when you have that card on the field. So it has a couple auto-win matchups. Things like Amazonas, which we have yet to put on the field, get hurt by floodgates like that. And yeah, Naturia hasn't changed a lot, again, since my last video. So there you are. Bang. Amazonas. Good. Overrated, though. You may look at this deck as like a new common charity player. You can come in, you see this deck, and you're like, okay, this is tier 1, right? I think Amazonas would be tier 1 if like nobody knew how to play against it. The issue is that once you actually figure out what's going on with the deck, you can pretty easily just get rid of your opponent's board. You pop the right things at the right time, and then you're able to kind of clear this deck out. It's definitely a noob stomper, but as long as you have a lot of experience with Amazonas, you should be okay. FA, probably bottom of tier 2. Deck's pretty decent. Essentially, what you're looking for with a deck like FA is like being able to synchro spam. Not really synchro spam either, just ending on Motorhome. And like that kind of deck is fine, but the issue with Protect the Castle, in quotes, style decks like that is that every single deck is on a kaiju. So like now that kaijus are more common than ever, your Motorhome's going to get kaiju'd, and then that just sucks for you, right? Unfortunately, it just doesn't have a good matchup into a lot of the meta. Traptrix. Bang. The 4th best deck in the format. I know I push it as top 3, but no actual beef, by the way, but with people in the Discord. But I will say that Traptrix is going to be interesting. The deck was revealed 8 hours ago, and people are already kind of commenting on its viability without any tournament results, or even like I don't think anyone has played a game with Traptrix yet. I don't think there has been a game played with Traptrix as of the recording of this video. But either way, I think this deck is pretty clear how it's going to end up. It's going to end up as a tier one deck. It has a good matchup versus Predaplant. It has a good matchup versus most of the rogue contenders can like knock out decks like Beetrooper pretty easily, knock out decks like Melfi pretty easily, knock out does a decent job in taking out decks like Scrap, rank 4 decks. Especially like all their cards being unaffected by trap cards definitely helps with the fact to kind of take care of the trap based decks of the format. But otherwise, this deck is quite good. You can handle a lot of interruptions. The issue now this deck is facing is like, okay, we have Feather Duster now, which is like, okay, now you have a 1-of they can draw into and just kill your board. The issue is that we can, like, there is a lot of counterplay with all these decks, but ending on like 5 interruptions is gonna get you places in a format like Common Charity. Layer of Darkness. I think this deck is very underrated. I think I'll put it like here. Like here. But I think this deck is very, very underrated. I don't think a lot of people are playing it. I think people are underestimating how hard it hits a lot of this meta. Decks like Traptrix, decks like Tenyi, decks like Predaplant can't really handle the viruses very well, and that's what Layer of Darkness excels at in dealing damage with these viruses. Also, tributing your opponent's monsters is clearly good in formats like Common Charity, when towers, and like not even like exactly towers. The only deck that like really reads like this card is unaffected are decks like Goki. A lot of these decks don't have towers; they have untargetable and indestructible monsters, and something like Ballista Squad can tribute those, get rid of like back row, and do a lot of damage. Going through Morphtronic, I think I'll put this like here. Um, Morphtronic is an interesting case of having a lot of potential in like, wow, the end board is so crazy. You're ending on multiple monster negates and a towers and a recursive guy that keeps coming back. Oh, this board is so sick. And then you look at the board for a couple more seconds and you're like, oh wow, this board is actually easily breakable. And then after you break it, they cannot do anything. like Landois is cool until you realize it has like 2300 attack or something and you can just beat over it with like anything competent. Power Load is cool until you realize that, oh, my deck mains a kaiju, I'll just wait and then tribute over it. Oh, that recursive guy is really cool until you realize, man, my deck has a way to banish cards. Or, oh, my deck has a form of removal that is not exactly destruction. Right? Like you look at the board for like the first couple seconds, you're like, whoa, this is the best deck in the format. And then you look at the board for like another minute and a half, and you're like, oh wow, this board actually does not do anything. Hero, very good. Essentially, this card, this deck just kind of gets through. It banishes, just like Dark Law plus rank 4 plus back row. The deck's good. I don't have much else to say. The deck's just good. Just ending on Macro Cosmos plus back row. I probably think it's better than Scrap. It depends on whether you think a guaranteed Dark Law or a sometimes drawn Floodgate is better. I prefer the guaranteed Dark Law, but I know a lot of people prefer just like, okay, I drew Gozen match. Like realistically, you have Rivalry Gozen Teak Boot, you're probably going to draw one of them. Plus, like a rank 4. But I prefer having the guaranteed safety in playing something like Hero. However, Hero has not changed very much. Another new deck, Galaxy. I'll say it. Probably like here, top of tier 3. The deck's pretty good. It is still just a rank 4 deck, right? So you're like, oh, it's a rank 4 deck. You just put it in with the trash. It's probably not even if it is better than Time Thief, it can't be better than Suship. Why is it up so high? Because it's not even really just a rank 4 deck. It's also secretly a rank 8 deck. So you can make things like Photon Prime Dragon with the right material, by the way, to get like a 5600 bungus just to knock into people, right? You just have a 5600 guy that you, or like a 5800 guy that you can summon at some points and just do a lot of damage, right? And eventually, I hope we get some reprints so that we can make like the full armor photon guys, or get some reprints so that we can make photon lord. But for now, it sits at a comfortable top of tier 3. Burn. Probably it's probably a little better than Lair of Darkness. This and Lair of Darkness are the two masterful anti-meta decks. Essentially, Burn. The issue, I think, an issue with Burn is that you can kind of, everyone sees it coming now, so everyone is playing like Decree in their side deck, right? Everyone's on Royal Decree or Security Guard or something. I don't know, the link one that prevents a burn damage. So it's a little more difficult to kind of reconcile that this deck like being very very good, but that doesn't mean the deck is bad, right? You're still going to win a lot of game ones, and sometimes you'll be able to just pop the guy. You also did get yourself access to a new tool, Cassatera, I believe, one of the Chaos support cards. Does stall for quite a long time, so it's another little convenient piece of support. DDD. We'll put it probably. I think I like it right here. DDD. Man. Yeah, I like it right here. I think DDD is a pretty interesting deck. I think it's the only deck in tier 3 or below to have a real top, right? So like a modern common charity like top. So I'm like looking at this and being like, okay, at some point we have to acknowledge that just because this deck has tournament results doesn't mean it's actually good. And DDD is one of those decks that is like, this deck has tournament results. That's true. The deck is still not great. But that doesn't mean the deck is bad, right? It goes second very well. Caliuga hits Traptrix really hard. Being able to Feather Duster on your opponent's turn is really nice versus a deck that is pretty much focused exclusively around setting cards from your deck. So having a good Traptrix matchup and being able to go second pretty well nets themselves a spot in high at tier 3. This is going to be a controversial decision. I'm tired of acknowledging these noob stomp bad OTK decks, especially now that we are in a format with decks like Traptrix. There is no excuse to be playing stuff like Dino Mist and Cyber Dragon, okay? At some point, we have to acknowledge that playing like bad OTK decks isn't gonna ever top a tournament, and that's what the tier list is for, right? Deciding, because like tier 3 decks, things like DDD and things like Gren Maju have topped tournaments before. So putting those in tier 3 acknowledges that these tier 3 decks have the possibility of topping a tournament. I cannot comprehend a deck like Dino Mist or a deck like Cyber Dragon actually topping a tournament. So there's no reason to put them in tier 3. That's just that. My thoughts on the actual decks are not important in that situation. Dragon. Dragon has gotten a lot of new tools. You can essentially now play the Chaos cards, the new Chaos guys. I actually don't. I think they're probably worse than these guys. You can now play the new Chaos cards, Chaos Beast, the Chaos Engine, and it works pretty well in this deck. It's probably the deck that it works the best in. And all I'll say about Dragon is that like it's okay, right? We can acknowledge that it's okay. The problem is that like, man, I could be playing so many. There are 2 rank 8 decks that are just better than it right here, right? And like, there's no reason to play Dragon because you can just play these 2. Dragon does have some synchro access, I'll admit, but the synchro pool, like the generic synchro pool, is not good enough to play it over something like DDD or something like Galaxy. because the rank 4 pool and the DDD fusion pool are much better than the generic synchro pool. Blackwing deck is awful. Probably, you know what? I'm gonna edit the. I think Luke Yosenju's probably like here. Blackwing's probably like here, and then Mech Knight's like here, and then here, here. Time Thief is clearly good, clearly better than these guys. But yes, where was I? Oh, Blackwing. Yeah, no, the deck's unplayable. I don't know why it's on this tier list. The deck is just unplayable. I don't. Oh no, hold on. I actually this deck. The reason it's on the tier list is because it does have tournament results. You can make Nightmare, Evil Swarm Nightmare with this deck. You can make Evil Swarm Nightmare, and that is apparently good enough to get a top. I don't know the appeal of this deck, but it has a top, so it's gonna get in the tier list. Bang. Stun. This deck is quite good. Stun is unfortunately a very, very, very playable deck. These three are actually the arbiters of the anti-meta strategies. Layer of Darkness, Burn, and Stun. Stun, I've pretty much said my piece on Stun. The problem with Stun is now you can't play Wind Barrier Statue. Oh no, what were we doing? Oh, wait, hold on. John, the Common Charity is calling. Oh, we were playing Light Barrier Statue? Call it off. Yeah, no, we are definitely still in shape with Stun. The deck has not changed. Fabled Synchro Combo deck. Wait, you're telling me a Synchro Combo deck is in tier 3? Wait, hold on. Wait. I need this. That's really interesting. You're telling me a Synchro Combo deck is sitting in tier 3? Wait, that can't be true. Yeah, no, it's just another Synchro Combo deck. It does the exact same thing as Mortronic and Symphonic Warrior. Fiend Pile? Yes, this is Fiend Pile. This deck is also completely fine. Don't know why you would play it, but you can play it. Yeah, no, this deck also has not changed. I think, can you play the Chaos Pile in this deck? I don't know, probably not. Yeah, no, this deck has not seen a lot of testing recently. I think it's fine still. I don't know. Nothing got hit from it. Yeah, no, this deck's still okay. Oh, wait. Dragon can play Destrudo. Nothing changes about its ranking, but it can play Destrudo. Machine. What does this deck do again? I don't know. Bottom tier 3. Gravekeeper. This deck is alright, I think. That's probably not that good. Graveyard decks are not, locking the graveyard is good, but it's not that good. Especially in a meta where you can also just play like Traptrix with Dimensional Shifter, right? So there's no reason to like play this, right? You just play D Shifter and Traptrix. Come on now. Machine. Is this not the same deck as this one? No, this is rank 4 Machine. This is regular Machine. They're both only okay. Pendulum. I overrated this deck for so long. I don't know why. The deck is literally unplayable. Like no one has ever seen success with this deck. I'm so confused. Why I was on this deck for not playing it, but like I was like, whoa, this deck's gonna do something eventually. It never did anything. So I suppose it's just gonna sit in tier 3 until more of its cards get on hit. Hey, 3 monkey board would make this deck good. Sacred Village of the Spellcaster. We'll put it right here. Or just Spellcaster Pile. We'll just put it right here. Again, deck's fine. Probably better than Dragon. The deck's fine, right? You have access to a bunch of floodgates. You have access to a lot of synchro monsters. Another losing Predaplant matchup to go in the bin. UA. Probably right here or something. Yeah, it's an OTK deck. You pop cards when you attack. There's not a lot to say about UA. I'm going to be honest. If you want my thoughts on UA, I've got another tier list video that I'm sure I share more about it. And then with Zombie, we'll put it right here. All the cards that you can play in Zombie, you can also play most of them in Fiend Pile. So that's good. I'm now noticing that I don't have Abyss Actor on this tier list. Imagine if it was like right. See, look at my mouse, like right here in tier 2. I didn't put Abyss Actor on this list, and I don't think it's important enough to end the video and re-record. But But imagine Abyss Actor is right here. It got all of its cards are commons, and they also printed Curtain Raiser at a common. So like that's like 5 new good cards for the deck, right? You know, just like put it right here between Dante and Light Stage, right here. Just put it right here. All right, and that's the tier list. Yeah, I think I like the look of this one. Yeah. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. Also, if you made it this far through my incessant rambling, thank you. And also, put Traptrix, and then the greater than sign Tenny in the comment, or no, put Predaplant greater than sign Tenny in the comment section. Please put that in the comment section. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.